Blog Talk Radio.
We welcome the night. Night Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian.
Yes.
I think I'm brain dead.
I am too. I am. I don't know.
No,
today
but
I've just
how
been
are you?
exhausted.
Yeah. It's been one of those days. It's been rough, but we're here and we're I don't know. I guess we're ready to talk some horror movies. Even though my brain has probably already erased most of what I watched earlier because it wanted to save my sanity that was left over from whatever was left. But we're here, and we're starting a brand new marathon. We are kicking off our annual Halloween Grab Bag Marathon, and as always, it's we've pulled out some good ones this year, some choices, and we're kicking it off with a banger. I mean, I don't think it's going to be able to top this one because sometimes your life just isn't complete, and then there comes a movie that fills that void, and that's what happened. And it was going to be interesting once we get to talk about that because there's a lot to unwind and to really discuss, and it's good and it's bad, and it's just going to be something. I just. Because when I was, Ian, we got stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, we do have, did you get both in, Ian, before I even go into the next part? You got both in, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have ourselves a brand new film that we're actually going to be discussing. It's nothing in theaters, even though I could discuss about a lot of stuff in theaters because I have seen it. I've seen Smile, I've seen Barbarian, I've seen Pearl. But you know what? We're not going to discuss that. We're going to freaking discuss what we're going to discuss later because we're that crazy. But to be honest, I think I'm going to remember the one later more than I'm going to remember fucking half the other ones that came out in theaters. But no, I digest.
Right.
The new Hellraiser. It came out on Hulu last night, or today at midnight last night. My head's a jumbled mess, so please forgive me for being all over the place, because I actually fell asleep and woke up at 12 o'clock, so my head's still relatively in that sleep mode. But I'm powering through it in the best way possible, because we got Hellraiser 2022, and again, this one I was kind of on the fence. Like when I first, I didn't even really watch that many trailers. I just saw a lot of little ads here and there online. I didn't really see too much of anything. so I didn't really know the plot, and I don't think they really gave you too much of the plot anyway. It's just like female Pinhead. That's all they gave you, and like new Cenobites. And it was going to be a new spin on the franchise. And again, we both watched it, and without going too far, because everyone's going to be talking about it, but we're going to be too busy not talking about it because we got other shit, more important shit to talk about.
Right.
But yeah, I watched it. It's 2 hours, and to be honest, I thought it for a Hellraiser sequel, reboot, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was one of the better outings from the later sequels. I mean, it's definitely better than Revelations. It's better than Deader in Hellworld. Definitely Hellseeker. So it's definitely it's a well-made film and put together. It's directed by the guy, David Bruckner, who did. He recently did The Lighthouse and a few other films. But again, I didn't get a chance to get all my notes ready because I fell asleep. But for the film, it was okay. I mean, I don't want to get too much into spoilers. I mean, I thought it was okay. It had some awful pacing issues, that first act, and honestly, it just kind of really didn't suck me in. I mean, it has the same atmosphere as like the first two films, and then it like took some inspirations, like the new Cenobites. They're decent. I mean, they don't really do that much, but I like the look of them. I like how they become Cenobites. I like how they introduced, did more with the configuration and the Leviathan and what it does when you complete the puzzle box, because I like that aspect of it, because you really didn't get too much, throughout the original Hellraiser franchise, where you open the box and basically you're just going to be tortured. It's like there's really not that much there, like for a reason for it being a puzzle box. It's just like as soon as you open it up, here they come. And you didn't really get much out of it. And like this one, they introduced an aspect of a prize towards the end with each new configuration of the box. So I like that aspect of it. And again, I liked the Cenobites. I liked how they looked. But man, it just had some pacing issues. It's not a bad film per se. I mean, it's definitely an okay watch. The gore is decently done. I like the way, again, like most of the things that I liked was the Cenobites. I liked how they walked. I liked how they, moved from place to place slowly, and like that's about the only thing I'm gonna sort of remember with it. And then like how like towards the end, like they went this weird martyrs route with again, I don't want to give too much away, with like pain and reaching enlightenment. So sort of like a martyrs aspect to it with Hellraiser towards the end there. But yeah, it just kind of goes down sort of like the same path a little bit. I mean, people once the box, they want to do, I mean, there's a little bit of a decent, okay story there. And again, they do more with the Cenobites this go around. But the characters were just kind of one-dimensional and nonchalant. I mean, they kind of give them a little bit of personality, but I mean, I didn't really care that much for the characters. I mean, for what it's worth, it was fine. It was an okay watch. And again, it needed to be tightened up just a little bit with that 2-hour runtime. Just like, I'm not really caring for the characters all that much, especially, the lead female character and like her struggle. I mean, I know there's like two different plots going on with two different struggles of what they want to accomplish with the configuration. But nonetheless, I thought it was okay for what it was. I mean, it was well shot and well directed. It was nice. Like there's some good. At moments, it looked like it was freaking Jamiroquai in Virtual Insanity. With him moving, the room moving and the walls moving back and forth, and people getting ripped in half. So it's like a Hellraiser version of Virtual Insanity. But Ian, what's your thoughts, and then we'll put this puppy to rest and go into more important matters.
I enjoyed it. for what it was. I loved pretty much the first 4 Hellraiser movies, and then like I kind of never rewatched any of the others, like I did the original. But I do agree with what you said. Like this, how the story was just kind of, like the characters being one-dimensional, and because I didn't feel much for the character. I mean, other than the main girl, I felt kind of something, but other than that, I didn't really care if anybody lived or died.
Yeah.
While they did do a lot with the Cenobites, it's kind of giving me a sequel vibe for how they introduced all the others toward the end. And if you look in the credits, they actually all have names. And I'm interested in the mother Cenobite.
Yeah, the mother Cenobite.
Because I was like, whoa, wait, what? I was like, was that one pregnant? So, without trying to get into too many spoilers about that, but like, I was just like, what? So I really hope they do some more films in this era and or genre. Or oh my gosh, I literally like passed out and my alarm went off to call in. Like I passed out right after the other movie ended, and so I'm also scatterbrained. But the movie was good. I enjoyed it. It probably I haven't seen any of the new horror movies out. Too many came out at once, and I'm moving, so all of my money is going to that. So
definitely,
it's a decent film.
Yeah, it's fine for what it is. Like that, but again, that's how I have been for most of what's been coming out this year. Like Barbarian, it was okay. Smile, it was okay. Pearl, it was okay. Hellraiser, it's okay. I mean, nothing's wowed me except for Septic this year. So it's just like it's perfectly adequate. It's definitely better than Revelations, Hellseeker, because again, I need to bring this up. For the female Pinhead, she did a serviceable job, but I felt like she did fine. It just seemed like her, like with Doug Bradley and his version of Pinhead, he was like robust and Will Taylor, so theatrical, and like this one is just like whispery and just like something like that with her voice. And it's just like there really didn't give too much to the character to make it. It looks great, and the way she does a decent job, but it felt like she didn't really do much for the character besides just having the look.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's definitely the best, the second best. I I did like Hellraiser Judgment. And again, I barely remember that guy's performance, but at least he was a little theatrical here and there. But again, that was sort of like all over the place. Judgment was. I like Judgment, except for towards the last act where it got a little convoluted. But she didn't really do much performance-wise. It just felt like evil villain with a raspy voice, with a whispery voice, and it's like. Didn't really give her too much to work with, but that's another minor flaw.
Well, I hope they fix that in future films too, if they continue, because I felt like they could. I felt like I've seen a couple of things they've been in, and I feel like this story did not give her the chance to really shine as Pinhead, other than the look. And I felt like a couple of the other Cenobites played more of a prominent role than just raspy, whispery talking. And I was kind of disappointed by that, especially from the hype that was being put out But I absolutely love the Cenobites, and as soon as merch comes out, I'm getting stuff.
Yeah.
Because I love them.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to do it because we got a lot of stuff to get into with our next film. And boy, and like I said, I had a lot of stuff planned, but again, I fell asleep early, so I didn't manage to do it. And right now would be a part where I'd be messing around Ian and say we had a phone call, but I didn't get a chance to do that. But our next film is our Halloween grab bag film, and it's called The Halloween Double Trouble Horror Show. And again, we had a list of films, and as we usually do, we just pick whatever. And I let Ian choose first. And Ian, I don't know why you do this to me. Well, honestly, it's my fault for even including it. Yeah, I know.
Do not let me pick.
Yeah. Oh my God! It's like, we could have an anthology. Well, we did technically have an anthology film, but not in the right frame of mind anthology film.
Oh my God!
So yeah, this film doesn't have anything online besides an Amazon link where you can buy the DVD, and plus it's on Tubi and whatever. But there's no IMDb page for it unless the stories themselves are separate entries on the IMDb page. I didn't look. But Ian, sometimes we like I said, I mentioned this earlier, you have your life before a film and then you have your life after a film, where it changes you. You have your 8-ball clown, you have your leprechaun's curse. This one, it's not that level, but it's a few rungs underneath, on that ladder. It's like very, you have 8-ball and curse on the top there, but like somewhere in the middle you have this thing, where you're just dumbfounded, that it's like, what's going on? Like there's so many flags and questions in my head, like, what is this, when I was watching it? And it's not to say, like, honestly, to be truthful, for most of the Halloween films that we reviewed, I liked it. All right, I'm looking at it in like a different perspective because it was just so something. It was something. You just have those films where you're just watching it.
It was a movie.
What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like, I was going through there like, well, it's better than Halloween and On Ethels because as crazy as that film was and ridiculous it was like falling apart because that film fell apart at the end. This one, it's just straight from the get-go. And, like, you're wondering, like, I was wanting to look more into it, like, was this a school project? Because everyone is a teenage girl. And then, like, you look into the credits once it's over. I don't know if you did, but I'll let it play a little bit over. And it's directed by James Back. And then you see there's, like, more backs in the credits. So it's, like, a family project, but also, like, I was thinking, okay, this has a high school film class vibe to it where he's like the lead, the guy talking through the films. He's our host, quote unquote, and he's like, these films are going to be prepared. They're going to scare you and everything. So it's like a guy that's sort of like out of touch and thinking like his projects is like the greatest thing ever. And it's like, it's sort of like that Tommy Wiseau effect in a way, where like he thinks he's making this great thing, and like, again, it's not a great thing. I'm just saying, where like it kind of makes fun once you're watching. Like, this can't be serious, and then like I swear this is just like a high school, project. Like they just got to.
No,
I was thinking it was like a high school teacher because like he had like all the props and like the teenage girls. I guess some were family, and it's just like, this is giving me weird vibes because like it was like On Ethel vibes where like the director was like, because all the characters in that film were like high school teenage girls like in the movie realm, but like you're you're filming them having sex and like they're underage teenage girls, like this one, I literally think they're teenage girls in high school still, and like they're friends or they're in this community project group with the
that's what
dad. And, like, he's going around, like, he's, like, in his 50s, has to be in his 50s, and he's filming these girls in, like, the most, you're going to be put on a list positions. And it was just like,
that's what I was thinking,
at points, it felt like I was watching, like, an amateur porn. Like, from, like, early, that 99 to 2002 era where it's just a dude and a video camera, and like people walk into a room, and they have that aspect of it too in the second story. And like again, the acting we're not even going to discuss that because we do have
they're high school girls.
Yeah, they're high school girls. And here's the thing: a while back we reviewed a film, and we make fun of it every now and then, called One Ad. And during our review of One Ad, there was a little game that I kind of played to make fun because of the situations that they were in with one of the characters. She was like, "Oh my God, this film has those characters in real life." And like I said, right now would be the time I would play a clip, but here I can only do this. Like, oh my God, Ian, they're back. Oh my God, like there's like so many conversations in this movie where it's just like they even say oh my God, in that clip, and like it's just I don't even know where they're from, Michigan or something, like Great Lakes. I don't know where that's at. There could be numerous Great Lakes, and so again, it's an anthology with two stories, basically. And so we have our main guy, James, who is doing his best at a Joel D. Wynkoop impression on YouTube, trying to sell you one of his DVDs that he starred in. Like, hey, Joel D. Wynkoop here, and I'm in this movie here. Coming, you get $20, PayPal, Venmo, whatever. Get it. It's out of print. It's just like he sounds sort of like that if you watch a Joel D. Wynkoop video on YouTube when he's trying to sell you one of his movies. And so, so we have one is, I don't even know the stories. One's about a witch, or so we think. I have no idea what that first one is, where two girls are walking, and like one didn't make the cheer squad apparently. And again, they're not in the, they're in like, like high school cheer, uniform, not cheer outfits, but like, again, where like you're feeling like, I don't know if I should be watching this, because it feels like these girls are in some close-ups.
Yeah,
that,
I was like, oh.
Yeah. There's some pretty revealing close-ups, and like, I don't know how I should be feeling right now. Am I going to be put on a list for watching this on Tubi? Like, what's going to go on here? But like again, the acting, as you heard, it's not very good. It's just girls acting like teenage girls, and like there's no script. Honestly, I think there's no script. Half of it's just cusp, just like off the cusp, and like goes through the general ideas, because like there's a lot of stumbling over lines and stuff like that. It's just like a general idea of like, all right, this is where it's going to go. And so the first story, and again, I'm going all over the place because I wish we had more time to really delve into this one. But like she like gets possessed by a entity or something, and I don't know. I don't know. So we have that entity talking to her, and that goes on for way too long. Oh my God, Ian, I don't know. I really don't know where I'm going with this one, and like my brain's a mess.
I don't think they knew where they were going with this one.
Yeah, it's like there's oh my God, it's just so like I like parts of it too because it was just so like sort of like what am I watching? You know, it's like something else. I mean, you have those where, like, again, it's not infuriating like an 8-ball where it's just like, what is going on? This is just one of those where you're just watching and just, like, wondering, like, where, what, you know, you're just, like, questioning all these things. And, like, we have, like, and honestly, in parts of it, it does feel like in aspects of the film where, like, there's, like, how was I thinking about it earlier? It's like a fall festival haunted house, like in some scenes. We're like, all right, we're going to do a run-through, and we're going to film it. You know, this is like, again, when camcorders and video cameras were a thing early days. Like, so we're just going to go through this, and we're going to have it for, you know, see what we can do to improve on it next year, and just this is what we're going to do. And, you run through there with the video camera and doing all that stuff. And that's like that first segment where, like, when she comes through the first-person camera perspective, and she's going down the steps, and she goes into the room, and it's like you come across the person standing at the end of the hall, and, like, the masks are, again, as store-bought or as you can get, and it's just like, wow, this is very, very high school made. And then, like, the second story is the Ouija board, where it's teenage girls playing with, like when I messaged you, like you said to me, like you're having fun, aren't you? Like I wanted to respond back, like I'm not exaggerating. That's a line. And it's like this is a Ouija board, and what we're gonna do is we place our hands on it, and we talk to the dead. Oh my God, you know, like, it's literally how they do it. And so the second story is, God. And so they play with the Ouija board. Again, I'm all over the place because this film's all over the place. And somehow, like, spirit or something, basically someone puts on a dinosaur mask, and he's wearing a long coat, and he has a chain wrapped around his neck and a play battle axe. And he's going around attacking the girls. And then the girls have these big, giant play toy machine guns, almost like sort of like a Nerf in a way, to how oversized they are. Like I know where my dad's guns are. You know, as you heard in the clip, and like then it's sort of so weird, and like it turns into this weird like art house piece, like halfway through the films. Like it's just like I don't know what they were going for. Again, I'm all over the place, Ian, but this is a weird movie. There's a lot of things going. It's just where you're just like questioning and wondering everything. And
you
just
left
like,
out the best part though, where they cut that wolf person's head off, and they were holding it, walking around. Who's out there? Who's out there? God, that was ridiculous. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, oh my Lord.
This is literally feels like people just like, again, like home movies that you like, hey, Tim's got the camera, let's go out and play around with it and make something. Get the masks out of the bucket in there, like, hey, let's do this and let's do something stupid. And that's what it came about. And like the dad, again, being in like an art film teacher in high school, is like, this is great, guys. This is wonderful, guys, and let's make this, like, again, we've seen High School Project. I mean, we reviewed one, Horror High, which was okay for what it was, but this is totally the opposite of that, where it's just like, what even? And again, I wish, in a way, I want people to see this, because I feel like this is going to be one of those, in due time, that's going to be like, sort of like the next room, because there's just like so much to unfold with this one, and it's just like unintentional, and you're just sitting there with like your mouth agape, like, what is even going on? Because there's like so much wrong, and like, it's not a good movie. I'm not going to say go out there automatically and watch this. I just like, I wish more people, I just don't want me and Ian to be the only two people that watch this, the back and forth on it, like we normally do. It's just like, it's one of those that you need to see it with like people to have a conversation with, because it's just one of those films where it's like, what even? Ian?
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
So yeah, they haven't like, so the one girl, and oh my God, the effects. Oh my God. And so like later on in the second, like they just explode randomly. That's something that comes out of nowhere. They just randomly explode, and it's like the most low budget explosion you can get. It's like literally it's and you have the Windows Movie effects going on there, Movie Maker effects, or Adobe or whatever, I don't know. And just like, all right, we need an explosion here, and then we need the dinosaur, and it doesn't even end. The stories don't even have a conclusion. They just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. And oh God, and then the one, because Tabitha, because she gets possessed or whatever, and she goes to the room that I said was like a fall festival haunted house looking thing, and so she turns into she's like a 5'4" small thin girl, right? And then she turns into this, I want to say 5'10", somewhere 6 in that area, and a mask with giant horns and the big, tall, sort of bulky, high school kid, sort of like a football player almost, where he's sort of, chunky. And then they say, kill your father. And, they go, and, the dad, who's played by the guy that does the voiceovers, James, and, Tabitha, is that you? And then you look like, how is that? How do you confuse your daughter, who's 5'4" and very, very thin, for that, with a big, and it's on the poster too, with the horns and the mask, and it's like, how do you confuse your daughter? Like, Ian, your son, he's not your son. He's a tall black guy. All right, you're gonna confuse your little baby for a 6'5" black kid, black guy. No, you don't do that. That was ridiculous. There's just scenes like that where it's just like, it's utter ridiculous. It's off the wall, and it's just like, it's just something you have to watch. And like I said, I wish more. I don't want people to watch it, but yet I do, because, as I said, me and Ian being in that special categories for all half these films, and just riffing back and forth, just like, oh yeah, 8-Ball. Like, how many people's watch 8-Ball? How many people's watch this? Like, I know not that many people's going to be watching this one. And so we're going to be riffing on this one for, again, I wish I could go back and forth on, like, more intricate things, but it's just, again, my head's a mess. And I think, as I said earlier, my brain's trying to erase everything that I watched to rectify itself. Like, nope, that's useless information. You don't need that in your brain. But nonetheless, here we are. So it's a wild ride. And again, it's just like one of those things where, like, the film's, it's like a broken down amusement park ride. Like, it's only on its last legs, and me and Ian are like, all right, let's see if it kills us. And that's what we're doing. Like, that it's made of wood and it's on its last legs. You go around that Big Dipper curve. The seat could come loose. It's that jaggedy. And me and Ian looked at each other and like, all right, let's do this for science. And that's what we're doing with the Halloween Double Trouble Horror Show. And there's a sequel. I hope there's a sequel.
There probably will be.
There probably will be. It's like, that's just part one. Be ready for part two. And like, all right. And then like the film ends. And now back to James, but in a Bigfoot costume. Like, that shouldn't even be there. That should be before. Like, why is that? Like, we just left James, now we're going back to him. So it's just like, it's a weird thing. Ian, before we get kicked off here, go through some things. Just, what else?
Oh my gosh.
Reach.
The scenery
reach for the
scenes
stars of this thing.
were, like, the scenery scenes were getting on my nerves. There was just so many pointless scenery scenes that added nothing but filler to the film. Like, I get like a couple of here and there just kind of said it, but like it was just like the same thing over and over again. And I was just like, why is there so much just scenery? Like, there's no one talking. There's no one even in the thing. I was like, this is just to try to get to that feature length, run time. But
I think they just filmed a bunch of stuff on the camera and just like, you know what, that was cool, and we're going to add this at the end of this one. Like, for no reason. We're going to stumble through the woods, the forest, show the river, and then we're going to show all these, like, weird, big Halloween, like, bad Halloween animatronics that are somewhere in this empty field with all these, like, little Blair Witch-style things, and then, like, oh, my God, it's a hut. The witch is in there. Like, oh, what? Okay. It's just the dad just going through there filming shit. And like, this would be great if we tack this on, and it, like, gives it more lore to the story of the witch, and who did that to Tabitha, you know. And then it was like, okay, and then we just needed James in a Bigfoot costume battling a guy in a dinosaur mask with a chain around his neck, a long coat, and a toy battle axe. Play fighting that you would see an 8-year-old and another 7-year-old do in the backyard on a trampoline. You know, it's like we got a little.
I think they should have added a trampoline. I think that would have just sealed it.
Because like he's swinging that battle axe around, and like, oh my God, it like honestly parts of it kind of reminded me of like in that section like a very, very poorly done like Wave video. Again, the people that know like horror know Wave. They're like a mail order video service that like specializes in like various things that you could get made. But it's just like felt like that, like Evil Mercenaries on Zombie Island, where it's like the people walking with over large guns and zombies with like it's a dude in a dinosaur mask and very like a Dollar General dinosaur mask. And it's just, oh man, there's just so much to unfold, and I wish I could remember every bit of it. But it's just like I said, it's my memory is just like erasing. It's like a figment now. Like, oh, get out of here. You don't need that. But I don't know, Ian. We persevered through it, and that's another one on our belt. Like, yeah, but have you seen the Halloween Double Trouble horror show? And just like, no, like, sit down, son. I got a story to tell you. Back in my day, me and my friend went through a war.
Underage girls, and like, I'm sorry, but that really I'm glad you said something about that, because like I was like, I feel kind of weird watching this.
Yeah,
just like the close-ups,
like,
the weird angles.
Yeah, like they literally set the camera, and like the next scene is the butt coming in the frame, and like they're not wearing, they're wearing like volleyball pants, shorts coming into frame. It's like, I don't know if I should be looking at this. So you're just like, you're kind of
like looking away. I was just like, this is
and like
creepy
they're wearing like
dad.
belly, like belly shirts and all like the skimpy, like stuff that you would see in the high school auditorium. Like the volleyball squad or the cheerleaders, like that. Literally, I know. I went to high school. I know how girls wore those things. Like a softball uniform. Like,
and
those shorts are definitely up there.
It's not the outfits. It's just the angles. Like, it was the camera angles that, like, when it was toward the back, the camera angle was low, and when it was to the front, the camera angle was high, pointing down to extenuate the chest. And I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely trying to get a cleavage shot. I was like, this.
And again,
at first, I was like, what? No, I was like, that's just my imagination.
I know you have good intentions, and it's probably unintentional, but this does come across as rather kind of pervy.
Yeah, and I was just like,
it's like, and you also have your family in there too, so that's kind of extra pervy, Unless you're a stepdad, which makes it even worse. Ian,
oh God.
the things we punish ourselves with.
We watch.
We did it.
Yep.
I don't think I've been right in the head ever since, and I think we're on a list, but nonetheless, we watched Halloween Double Trouble horror show, and I don't know.
I don't
know what to expect. But Ian, this was a journey, both for our sanities and just horror in general, because who else is reviewing this shit? Nobody. And so here we are, the two unlikeliest heroes to bring you a fucking in-depth review of shit. But honestly, Ian, I wouldn't have it any other way, because that just brings us closer together. And again, if we're going to do this journey, and if we're going to be cellmates, so I might as well do it with my buddy.
Right.
if we're gonna be
nobody else I'd go to
dead,
hell with.
Yeah. I'd rather be you than anybody. You can mow down a parade full of people and represent yourself and have a fair shot in getting out, but me and you, we're gonna watch a film with teenage girls with intimate shots of their private regions and legs and stuff, and we're going to be behind bars. But no, I digress. Ian, we're going nuts. No sleep, lack of sleep, watching this shit. Oh boy, Ian. It's fun. And again, wouldn't have it any other way, as we both said. And we do this for our own enjoyment and our amusement, and hopefully some other people out there get a little bit of a kick out of it, because, like, again, who in their right minds are going to be reaching in and pulling out these random-ass films? Not many, but here we are, and we're diving deep, and we're getting our freaking hands all bloody through the fucking razor blades and the apples, and hoping for something good, but, oh, boy. But, Ian, as always, it's great talking with you, and I love you, buddy, and you be safe. And everyone, we're going to be kicking off more Halloween films throughout the month. So we thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.